um, it was annoying how I got into product management, which is what I do full time nowadays, and have been doing for the past 5-ish years. And the kind of products that I've built, the kind of tools that I use to build those products, the kind of companies and teams that I work with, and some of the trends and tricks that I've observed, and some stuff that I think this community might be able to benefit from, especially the job seekers. So, as a quick background, or let's go over the agenda first. So, I'll start with my journey. Won't spend too much time on that, and I'm hoping that this session can be interactive. I saw a lot of people with great experiences and background, so would love for everybody to kind of just engage and interact. I think that's what will lead to some good outcomes together. But I'll go into my journey, and then I'll expand on the AI for growth piece, like how I've used AI for my own growth, how I've observed and helped others use AI to help themselves, and to help their careers pivot in the direction that they would like to see, and some really cool results that we've observed firsthand, especially with me being involved in a few AI communities, DeepLearning.ai and a few others, as well, like how that's helped, and I've seen firsthand that become a very effective channel for doing great things and building great collaborations, and doing projects together that work and result in good things. And then we'll talk a bit about voice AI. That's an area that I'm going deeper into. I've built some products that are live in that space, and I'm very excited about where that will will go next. And I hope to be a player in that space, and also like how that can help the career prep, career development side of things for those of you who are in the job seeking journey, as well. And then we'll talk a bit about how the tools that I've used to build credibility, doing projects, doing hackathons, being involved in community, being a community builder, being a connector. And then we'll go into question and answers, and that's kind of the agenda. But again, I'm encouraging everybody to just jump in and participate, because I don't want to just present and then talk, just talk and leave, and have that be the entire thing. I would encourage people to jump in. That's why I'm here as well, to learn from this community. So we'll just go into who I am, and I promise like this there will be like maybe just one slide about myself, and then we'll go into other things. I don't enjoy talking about myself too much. Not much to share. I'm still pretty early on in my career. I'm still like learning and experimenting and doing things every day, and some of those things work, some of those things do not work. So it's really my core thing is experimenting, trying out new things, building products, and sometimes that has led to good results, other times that has not. But to kind of go down into it, currently I primarily spend most of my time leading a product team at Intercap, which is a company headquartered in downtown Toronto. They are a venture capital firm, by title. They were for the longest time a pure venture capital firm that invests in other companies, in high growth startups, particularly in high growth segments AI, such as AI, e-commerce, cloud, um, blockchain. There's a few other companies as well. Like, it's a very exciting place to be in. They're investing in companies from all segments and verticals, all the way from food production in the Middle East to in-flight entertainment to blockchain, fintech, and DeFi startups as well. So it's a very interesting place to be, and it keeps me very engaged and allows me to learn a lot on the job and interact with a lot of very smart people. Most of my time at Intercap is spent on one of their portfolio projects, which is called Inc. Domains. So anytime anybody from anywhere purchases a .inc domain, um, somewhere in that chain or in that process, like, I would be involved. I built the APIs that allow a lot of platforms, such as GoDaddy and Namecheap and NameSilo and a lot of these big domain registrars. I built the APIs that allowed them to sell .inc domains, and also we are building a lot of tooling and a lot of interesting things around the domain, such as site builders, agentic site builders, which allow you to input which your business is and how you would use it, and then automatically your website is generated. Agentic companions that allow you to use your website in creative ways, auto create the content, make you more of the consumer rather than the builder. So all the stuff that would automate all the steps in creating your business and getting your business online. That's the space where I spend most of my time as a product manager, leading and building and applying AI into. Before this role, I was at another company, which was a pure AI search and recommendations company called GroupBuy, and that was a very interesting high growth startup in the AI space. It was a pure like AI ML kind of role. They were building search and recommendation models, so I got a lot of exposure to really exciting teams, particularly from Google, that were building the latest and greatest in search and recommendation models. I worked pretty closely with the team that built the BART model, which eventually became the team that converted into Gemini and launched Google Gemini. So that was a very exciting time to be working with those guys. We got early access to most of the new models built by the Google team. We were one of the feedback providers, and we were also one of the co-branded partners that launched these models into production for a lot of clients in the retail space. So I led the work of basically productionizing these search and recommendation models. So I spent a lot of time working with end clients that would apply search, browse, autocomplete, all these different models into their retail platforms, and with the hope of improving the conversion on their e-commerce sites. So I'm talking about really large retailers that do like 2 to 3 billion, multiple billions of queries per month of searches on their websites, on their e-commerce platforms. And my goal was to help them optimize and find the right kind of model and configuration and set of rules that would really increase the performance and improve the conversion of the searches and suggestions on their e-commerce sites. I think people are trying to join if someone is managing the waiting room and there's someone stuck. We'll keep going. So I was in charge of really productionizing these models, and working directly with the end clients, giving them recommendations, applying the models, and applying tooling that would allow them to control the performance of the searches, of the recommendations, of the of how the results are shown, how they work, what can be done with the results. There was a really interesting job, and we spent a lot of time playing with the latest and greatest in the AI space because of that. That company just recently got acquired as well by a larger AI search company. So it was a very successful exit for them, and a great place to be in as part of that high growth startup environment. Before Group Buy, I'm not going to go into all of my roles, but like before Group Buy as well, I was in a consulting role at Sun Life Financial, where I led some of the work to automate their advisor matchmaking tool, and that was one of my first exposures into AI and using AI specifically to build a content-based recommendation system. This was during 2020, 2021, like the early days where data science was a really cool thing to get into. So that was one of my first large exposures into the world of AI. And we built the matchmaking engine, and that created a lot of good exposure into how capable and how useful and how powerful AI was. And since that role, I've sort of applied that to Intercap, to AutoDoc, to all the other things that I've done. Like I've kept those lessons and kept building on top of them. Okay, so yeah, I've done a couple of product roles before that. I was in consulting, and always sort of rotated around the AI world. I had about a year in the blockchain space as well in the middle, but that was an anomaly. Before and after that, I went back into the AI space. What I'm doing now is, whilst I'm still leading the work at Intercap, over the past year and a half, I've sort of started to expand my horizons, gotten really excited by the capabilities of particularly the latest of the AI models. I think post Chat GPT came out, like everybody anywhere and everywhere who was even in the lightest bit involved with tech immediately saw the power and potential of what these large language models could do. So I was one of those people, and because I had a background and understanding of how these things work, and also who would be best able to leverage the powerful capabilities of these models, I immediately started doing more stuff, and that led to more projects being created, and made my life more interesting. So there's a couple of these things that I've built. Some of them are in production and work. Some of them are still early stage and experimental as well. But one of them mentioned here is AutoDoc. And AutoDoc really came as a result of, and I will talk about this later, um, as a result of my philosophy of sort of learning by doing, or learning by building in public. So what happened is, about 2 years ago, and I'll share more about this later, I started participating in a lot of hackathons, trying to figure out where I can apply LLMs and where we can create the most value. As a part of those hackathons, one of the things that came out as a really positive result, after a lot of experimentation, was that we found that LLMs are amazing when you work with unstructured data. Like the simplest example of that is if you upload a random text document that you've typed up and doesn't have any formatting, doesn't have really good structure to it. ChatGPT will be able to make sense of that, and you can do it in multiple languages. You can do it with a picture of something that you sketched on pen and paper, and it will still be able to convert that raw, messy information into structured, valuable JSON or any other really useful, structured, clean output. So that was the basis of what AutoDoc is. Essentially, it's a tool that now, after 2 years of pivoting and evolving, helps consultants in Canada that deal with innovation and tax credits. What we do is we have built a tool that cr- amalgamates a lot of unstructured business data, like, so including financial data, tax data, code bases, business research data, and many other things, from all the different tools that a business operates from. So, as many of you guys are in the software development world, you'll see that there are tools like Jira, Confluence, Notion, Excel, obviously, Google Docs, and many more that businesses work with. So we built integrations into all of them, and yeah, we automated that intake process. Then we built a layer powered by LLMs that understands exactly what is going on in that business. Who's doing the work, how they're doing the work, what the work is, and then that cleanly and functionally, in a very nice structured way, documents all of that into a standardized format. And then we use that now to help companies apply for tax credits and innovation credits in Canada. That's something that kind of evolved over the course of a few years into what it is right now. But it's came out as an experiment. Then we transformed that into an AI solution for documentation creation. Then that pivoted into an AI agent for doing tax credits and innovation filings, and that's where it sits right now. So I spent a lot of time on that work. That's something that's been a more successful application of AI and leveraging AI agents. If you guys want to take a look, I'll put the link in the chat as well. And at any point, if anybody has any questions about any of these, would love to answer.
I was just gonna say that AutoDoc looks pretty impressive. I might actually bring this to my team.
Yeah, for sure. You're a product guy as well, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So like
interesting. Go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
So I was just saying, interestingly, like what happened is because I'm also a product guy. So what happened is when I started working on this, the idea was that I meet a lot of product managers who are non-technical, and
Yeah.
when they're working with engineers, they're often lost or feel overwhelmed. And the idea was that we build a simple tool that essentially connects to the code base in a software company and just makes it easy for the PMs to be able to understand how the technology works. At an English basic level, like make technical things easy and accessible to non-technical people. That's what we started with, and then it's sort of over the course of many demos and pilots and evolved into a completely different thing. But that was
Right.
where it started from. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's AutoDoc. We'll keep going. Other areas I'm involved in. So over the past couple of months, I've been very fascinated by voice AI. And when I say voice AI, I mean specifically like conversational, AI agents that speak to you in English. Just like, I mean, even ChatGPT can speak in English now, but like more so than that, they're able to do things for you. Like they're able to, take the conversation and help you connect to the right person, or have a conversation with you and give you feedback or rank you for a job interview, or you know do do a lot of other things. So I've been using it primarily for help with interview prep, but also like I've built a couple of tools and also advise a company that is building voice agents for many like AI receptionist and AI employee kind of use cases as well. It's called Spotify. They have a couple of really interesting demos on their site as well. So I'm really fascinated by that technology, but like what I want to talk about with this group is how we can use that for career prep and interview prep and job prep. So we'll get to that in a second. Nudgy is another sort of community building initiative of mine, which is really built for startup founders to get connected to venture capitalists. And that's something I started again as part of a hackathon. It's called, I'll just share the link in the group here as well. This one is very, very early stages, but it's been a very fun project to work on. So because of my background in venture capital, like I have a network of VCs, and what I did is I built a voice-based matchmaking tool for venture capitalists and founders to connect with each other. The idea is that you have a 3 to 5 minute conversation with an AI agent. It understands all of what you're doing, what your startup is all about, how it works, how much money you're raising, those kind of things. And then it will rank you and assess you based on that conversation and based on its understanding of what you're doing, give you a summary. And if that works, if there's a good score, and then there's a we see in its network that is looking for those kind of companies, then we'll make a match. So it's been a close-ended community-based initiative, and I've been running it very silently for the past 2 months and seeing really amazing results. So we can talk more about it if there's any interest. But one of the results of this experiment is this: I've just been learning how powerful voice and AI agents in general are for community building, and how much efficiency they add to the process. They take away all the need for any kind of onboarding or filling out long forms or creating new accounts. All of that is just done. Like you just have a 3 minute conversation and everything is like all set and organized for you. So it's been a really powerful use case that I've observed working really well. Apart from that, I, because of the VC space startup background, like I am always involved with other startups and ventures as well. So happy to talk about any of that if there's any interest. And then the last piece here is that I spend a lot of time, as part of community events and community building. So events such as this one, I really enjoy participating in and supporting them where I can as well. So one of the big ones that I'm a part of is DeepLearning.ai. So anybody who's in the AI space has probably definitely heard about DeepLearning.ai. It's one of the largest AI communities. They have chapters all over the world. It was started by one of the godfathers of AI, and Andrew Yan, who's based out of California, and he is also the founder of Coursera and a few other um, ed tech and other initiatives, and a professor at Stanford. So DeepLearning.ai is actually a really great community for anybody here who wants to learn more about AI, and also like anybody who's already in the AI space but wants to get deeper or get connected with the local folks who are doing really interesting things. Like the idea of deeplearning.ai is it's focused on more on the technical, so it's not going to be just like generic, career support or networking. It's going to be more focused on like one specific domain within AI and how you can participate and contribute to that domain. For example, we're doing an event on beauty tech and building engagement and interaction within beauty tech with a company that was recently acquired by L'Oreal. And so they're big in the beauty tech space. We're planning that event for sometime in October. The idea is that this company will come in, they'll share their technology and how they're building it and the engineers and the kind of problems that they're working on. And then you get live feedback and also live users of a technical nature at that event, plus potential opportunities for hiring will come from that as well, because there's always conversations about hiring talented engineers at these kind of technical events where people are engaged and trying out your technology live. The benefit for the people who are presenting is that they get live feedback on their technology, and the benefit of the audience is that they get exposure to what's being used, what's in production, and how things work. So, would definitely encourage anybody who wants to go deeper into AI to check this out. And it's also a great place to network and participate more in the Toronto and GTA community of AI. If there's no questions, I'll keep going on. Um, One of the things that I always like to talk about, because I believe in it and that's what I practice, is learning by building. And this applies not only like from a grounds up like career development framework, learning new things. The best way to do it is by executing, um, rather than like reading and learning. But on a more larger scale as well, like it's been something that's helped me a lot in terms of product management in particular. That's the way that I have developed my product management skill set, and I encourage others to do so as well. I there's a really popular course on Udemy called Learn Product Management by Building Products, and I have a whole section in that course where I talk about that as well, and I share like some of my learnings. So it's a 1 hour long kind of deep dive into that, but the high level there is that my philosophy is the best way to learn product management, but this applies to more skills as well, is you can take a course, you can read the right literature, you can probably learn what's going on from that, but there's no way to prove to anybody that you've learned anything unless you can show them, unless you can prove that what you learned or what you read about actually works, and you've done the work and you've tried it out and you've launched something. um, and that applies a lot more to product and engineering careers, but could apply to almost anything else as well in general. So for me, like one of the best ways to apply this was by choosing an area and a problem space that works, that I'm really interested in. So for me, that was like the edtech career development space. And this is like me 7 years ago when I wanted to become a product manager, but I wasn't sure exactly how to go about that. So what I did is I spent a lot of time, um, learning like how products are built. So that includes both the technical and the non-technical, and then really like just joining a lot of communities where PMs and product builders hang out. um, and then I learned very quickly that where PMs hang out is not where I should be hanging out. If I want to learn to build and ship things, you got to go deeper than that, and you should hang out with people who are builders. So I found the places where actual builders hang out, and that's often not where product managers are very present. Uh, but that turned out to be a great thing. So the approach that I took there was first learn to build, and then find a problem that I'm really interested in. So for me, that problem was career development and how we can use technology to facilitate career development, which is also along the lines of what this topic today is about. So what I ended up doing is I defined a product that was sort of like a matchmaker for um, people at the time who were around my age segment, who were like recently graduated, people in their early on in their career journeys who didn't have a lot of full-time professional experience, and looking at the challenges that they face, which were often stuff like, I have the skills but I don't know like how to showcase them, or I'm not sure what step to take to become a senior PM from a junior PM, or like how to convert my internship into a full-time role. Those were like some recurring themes. So I defined like what that looks like as a problem, and then applied like the pure product management framework to it, like converting a problem into something that we can validate, do discovery on, and then define an MVP out of that as well. So the result of that exercise was that you end up defining like what could be like a bare minimum sort of product that works and attempts to solve that problem um, at a very fundamental basic level. So for me, that was really a simple matchmaking tool that would look at your current state, wherever you are at in terms of your current resume, and then look at your dream job and convert that into a set of steps that could be achieved. So I defined that as a product to build as my MVP, and then I learned how to build it and shipped it. And that was a very difficult journey, but I did that very publicly. I shared what I was doing. I shared what I was learning. Ended up actually creating a startup out of it as well that got accepted into a few incubator programs. It's called Project Ant, and it's actually something that I'm kind of going back into now as well, after some recent conversations. I'll put the link in the chat for that as well. But what happened is, during the course of learning how to build this is actually where I learned all of my product skills. And actually, that's what led me to be hired as a product manager as well. When I shared that publicly, especially on LinkedIn, people started seeing that this guy is, he's talking about product, he's building product, he's learning, he's active, he's engaged, he's giving feedback, he's taking feedback. That was a really eye-opening thing for me, but also it was a great way to build credibility. Um, People could see that I could ship product, people could see that I could build, people could see that I was able to learn and apply what I was doing. So that was really powerful, and I've sort of taken that on, even like after getting the job. Like I sort of kept doing that. Like you can see now that I've been doing a lot of projects, and I'm sharing them publicly as well, just to get feedback. It's a great way to build a network. It's a great way to be out there. It's a great way to be engaged with the community. It's a great way to build credibility. I think there's a question there.
I guess my question would be like that initial phase of deciding to go public. A lot of people have anxiety when it comes to that, even when it comes to just posting on LinkedIn for any benign thing, if it was like a job update or anything else other than that. How did you kind of build the courage to just decide to put it all out there?
Yeah, so it's something I still struggle with as well. Like I have phases where I'm like, nobody will like whatever I'm doing. Like it's too early, it's too basic, it's not original. Like all those anxiety things are there. What I've found that's been helpful is that, like, for example, like I'll start something new today, and it's gonna be like very basic. I have nothing really proper to share except maybe just an idea and a problem. I'll find like let's say I'm exploring a tool on career mapping, or career journey mapping, or using AI to help career growth. Right, that's a space that I am often thinking about. I may not be ready to post something on LinkedIn yet because like it's too early, or I'm too afraid, or it's too public and too much for step one. But you can like go really deep and really niche and find like the very small subset of that audience that exists somewhere else as well. What I found really good for that is Reddit. Like
Hmm.
without having to use your public professional LinkedIn profile, without having to expose your resume or your name. You can create an anonymous account on Reddit, find the exact community that talks about that exact problem, like career journey, there's like 10 tons of communities on Reddit, and post, in a very original, very humble way. Hey guys, I'm working on this tool. It will do X, Y, and Z. Um, we love your feedback. You'll get banned from some communities. Some of them will be very negative, but all of that has happened. But you will find that there is somewhere, you'll find that that audience, Reddit is a great place. Somewhere that audience does exist, and Reddit is just one example. Like there's often like niche Slack community. So one of the things that helped me during this time, when I was building the early stages of Project Ant, was when I was focusing on that matchmaking use case, identifying the dream job and kind of reverse engineering it and match and finding projects to fill those gaps. There's really niche like communities within the machine learning uh, community, the wider community, that are very specifically about like one subset of machine learning or one subset of like building matchmakers. So we like recommendation systems, then matchmakers, and then content-based recommendation system, and then like you can, if you go deep, you can find like the exact like subset of people who focus on that very problem, and then you post a very small specific question there, and you'll find like engagement right there. That's always worked for me. I still do that. Like I still practice that in all the stuff that I'm doing. So I would encourage you to kind of start at that micro level, and then go up from there. Like start from the most niche, smallest like Reddit community, then go into a wider community, then go into like maybe like an all students kind of channel as well, where like there's millions of students. Then if that works, then maybe you're ready to kind of post on X. And if
Right.
that works, then make a video. Like go in that direction. Like I'm still experimenting, and I still do like very micro experiments as well. But that's kind of what experimented a bit on from myself, but also I've seen others do the same thing as well.
Just a quick follow-up. So let's say you're using Reddit. At what point would you say is like you've hit that validation stage? You'd be like, okay, I know I'm in the right direction. When do you take it to that next level of that other platform like LinkedIn or X?
I think you'll know when you know. Like so
Okay.
interestingly for me, yesterday I posted something. I got banned from 3 communities, but then in one of them there's like 20 comments.
Okay.
Most of them are positive, so I feel like that's good. I'll take that as a win. That's enough
Right.
signaling to make a more prominent post somewhere else, or at least do something at a larger scale. That
Gotcha.
I'll take that as a win. But again, it depends on what you're doing and where you're posting, right? If you're building something really broad and generic, then 20 comments means nothing, because then you
Right.
need thousands. But if you're building something super specific, that solves just one narrow problem, then that could be huge validation for you right there.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, so I just start niche, start small, but just build and ship and get feedback. That's been really helpful, and that really helps build credibility. Uh,
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. I want to ask about AI security. There have been some injection attacks, and also you have been talking about the models as well. There are some vulnerabilities currently that are specific to LLM model file vulnerabilities. So, how do you consider that while building up these models?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Not my area of expertise, like vulnerability and performance at that level. Like I'm still like, there's 2 layers to it. So one is like when it's a small project that I'm still validating like a problem for. Like I'm not gonna spend too much time thinking about the technicalities. Like in the at the early phase, for example, if I'm building a career mapping tool at the very early stages, like my approach has always been to like focus on the user and the user level problem. Like what does the user want? The user wants to find a job and get aid and career mapping to achieve that job. what are the available technologies available for that. There's 10 different models that I can leverage, and most of them get get the take the inputs that I want to take and get the outputs that I want. That's enough for me to build an MVP. Like I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about it deeper than that. Like it is definitely a concern, but it's a later stage concern, right? When I'm thinking about production and scaling up. So for a small project at the early stages, I wouldn't spend too much time thinking about that. When I work with Intercap, obviously, like that's a larger organization that obviously has scale. And everything goes to production, and there's millions of users and vulnerabilities that really it's really important that we're compliant, and we have all of our SOC 2 and enterprise grade security and HIPAA and DECA and all those things are taken care of. Then it's a different story. And over there, like, what I do is, like, my role as a PM is to be aware of what all the concerns are, be aware of what we want to achieve, and then usually there's an expert that I would work with, that would think about the actual constraints and how to work with them or how to work against them. um, I hope that answers your question. Like, I'm not the cybersecurity expert to go deeper than that into this.
Okay, okay. Well noted. Yeah, I understood it. Yeah, you guys don't consider it in the design phase, but later on, you add it
Yeah,
as a control, with the input from one of your experts.
exactly. And, like,
Got you.
like, I'm guessing you're one of the experts that we want to consult.
No, actually, now I'm in application security. Now I'm considering going to AI application security since there's a lot of gap there.
Yeah,
Injection attacks is on the horizon, and there are a lot of ways to trick LLMs to give up the APIs it is using, credentials. There have been some improvement still, but last month there were some huge vulnerabilities in Cloud AI and also in Google's Gemini. The community is doing a lot, but injection attacks is rising, and it's also affecting big companies as well. Thank you so much for the explanation. Thank you.
no worries. And yeah, by the way, like, there's that skill is very much in demand. Like, because of all the AI stuff and these communities that I'm in, like, there's a lot of people nowadays, that, including myself, that will build, like, something really quick, really fast, and they won't really know, or they're not really spending time thinking about the security and compliance and data governance framework and all of those kind of things. So there's a lot of opportunity to contribute there, for sure. Especially nowadays, because it's become so easy to spin up things and use tools like Cursor and Lovable, and build things fast without being too concerned, or without having to worry too much. People There's, like, really well funded startups that are in production that have not even thought about this. So it is a pretty important thing to bring up. Right, we'll keep going. um we already spoke about this part. Okay. So we'll segment on to the next piece here. Why AI matters for careers. I feel like I've been touching upon this throughout the conversation today, but just to go a bit deeper into it, um, because I spend a lot of time with AI folks, and when I say AI folks, I mean builders who are leveraging AI at all steps of the way, right? So at Intercap, for example, like, we use AI in our core product, the site builder, agent, and the companion, and all of that. But we also use a lot of AI at the earlier stages, as, like, free tools to bring minor points of value to our users. So, for example, like, we have a lot of, like, very basic things that our marketing team keeps building up, as a way to acquire users. So, because we sell domains, what we've done is we've added, like, business name generator as a tool, or website suggester as a tool, or, like, keyword researcher as a tool. These are all, like, very, very small things that you know it's nowadays is expected that we'll keep building and adding to our suite, because it's accessible and everybody can build and everybody can leverage AI. The expectations and standards of using AI have increased a lot. these things are now considered, table stakes. Everybody should have some exposure to AI tools, how to build AI tools, how to use AI tools, where they can be used. That knowledge is increasingly required, and getting less valuable, but also expected all the time. Um, so what's happened is that I've worked at Fortune 500s, I've worked at startups, I've worked at and with VCs, and all of them are right now scrambling to just get as AI native and AI friendly as possible. At a larger company, I used to work at Sun Life, and before that, at Philip Morris. Those are both Fortune 500s. In a larger company, in those kind of teams, the idea is that everybody in the team should be aware of how AI can be applied to their roles. Right? If you were a data analyst, that one's pretty obvious. But like, if you're a data analyst, you should know like all the latest tools that can help aid your job create efficiency. But also more than that, like how the output of your work today. If, for example, if you're creating visualizations, and that's your job, like creating reporting, dashboarding, visualizations, and Google just launched their, I forget what it's called, but like they launched a new agentic, data visualization tool. How much of your job is left, and what can you do if that part is automated? Like, that is really critical pieces of knowledge that is expected, that is required, and if you have that and you're proactive about that, that's proven to add is proven to help uh, make you a more valuable asset to your team. So a few specific examples of that. For example, I just noticed someone joining. We'll keep going. Uh, yeah. So being that person who knows where AI can be applied, how it can be applied, how it can change your job, that is really critical. So for me, like personal example as a product guy and a product manager, like one of the first things that I started doing, and this is what I shared earlier as well, and what Mahmoud brought up as well, that AutoDoc example, it actually started because I was trying to automate a big part of my job as a product manager. Like a big chunk of my role used to be writing these clunky, long, really detailed product requirement documentations. It's still a thing that's expected from PMs. It used to be a major bullet point in a lot of in a lot of job applications and job descriptions. So I spent time trying to identify how I can properly automate that away, because it seems like a great use case where an AI agent could be built that understands, what the technical needs are, what the business needs are. It is given a template, and it can break that down into a functional working, product requirements document that is living and breathing, and doesn't require the PM to spend hours in formatting and structure. Like you get the input that you want, you write down the desired output in a human language, and AI can do the piece in the middle. It's a great use case that a lot of people started applying to their jobs, and I've seen firsthand, like for myself, and I'm sure like many of the people in this conversation, but in general as well, like that automation is really appreciated. Like if you share with your managers like how you've automated away or created efficiency in something that you spend like 30% of your time on, it's never going to backfire. It's always going to be appreciated. You've created an efficiency, you've bought back time for yourself in your organization, and you've shown people that you're taking initiative. So that's a personal example of how AI can be applied in many aspects of your role. I've done that in the VC world as well. The Nudgy example is a great one, where a big part of VCs current a big part of VCs currently is building pipeline, finding the right startups to invest in, and validating that, and having a clear list of their needs and what they've achieved so far. An AI voice agent can do the first part of that job perfectly well. Like the first layer, the very highest level of filling out a form and sharing what you're working on, how far you've gotten, how much money you make today, what your fundraising needs are, and who your team is. Like those very high level things that can be automated away. If you're a VC that's not doing that today, you're already behind the pack. So it's really important to be aware of like all these ways in which AI can apply to what you're doing at your company, at your projects, at your school, and help automate that. Any questions? I feel like I've been talking for quite a bit. We'll keep going. All right. Sorry,
I
go
do
ahead.
have a question. Okay, sorry. I think there was a delay. Yeah, I do have a question on the VC, like which LLM model are you using, and yeah, what's the logic behind it? I know you're doing some matching based on our voice. I was just trying to open the website. So could you please speak something about the technology used behind it?
You're referring to Nudgy, right? The example that I shared.
No, the voice one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, the Nudgy VC. Yes.
Yeah, that's very early stage, very experimental. I
Mm-hmm.
believe specifically for that one, the model that was used, that's one of the real time voice models, I think provided by OpenAI. So I think early on in the year they exposed their real time APIs, so you could do real time streaming with voice. I don't know if it's GPT-5 or 4.0 or which one, but one of the models that allows you to do real time streaming, because that I've noticed that makes all the difference, especially when you're having a two-way dynamic conversation and there's tool calling and different layers and decision making involved in the conversation. Like the the latency is significantly better, and then also like it adds a layer of emotional understanding that I have never seen before. So I'm very impressed with what it can do. And if you have a call with that right now, or there's a number on that website that you can call, and if you pitch your startup, or you can make up a startup and pitch it, I'll show you afterwards like the what how it analyzes things, and it shows a very neat JSON of like exactly what it picked up, which goes really deep into like Shenaz is pitching this company which is about AI and she's raising XYZ, but also it goes into like how confident you were when you were talking, or how motivated you sounded, how fast you were talking, like those kind of things as well. Did it pick up any hesitation? Did it pick up that you were mature enough? Like it will go into a lot of detail, and we're still experimenting with how much it can do, but it's really powerful what it can already do so far.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. We'll keep going. So one of the things that I have found really simple, but it's just some people don't do it already. So I just wanted to reiterate that here is, especially when you're job hunting, it's everybody uses ChatGPT, everybody uses Gemini, everybody is using all these models. I've seen a lot of people, the way that they work when they're doing all these things is they'll open up a ChatGPT thread and they'll copy over their resume and they'll be like, how does it do, or give me feedback or improve it. um, the whole power of LLMs is significantly more than that. um, the more specific you are, the more direct you are with an LLM about exactly what you want, like what the desired outcome is, what your goal is, what you want to achieve, and how you want it to help you, it will do a significantly better job. So one like really simple example, the slide is not super clear, but this has been really powerful for me, and I've used it personally on my resume as well. Is like, instead of copying a job description and copying your resume and being like, change it for this job, what I started doing is I was very specific with ChatGPT and told it to be the recruiter for the role and go into my resume line by line and compare everything against this job description of this job that I want, and score each section from 1 to 10 and explain why you're giving it that score. And then we can work on the rewriting. You can break it down further as well. But like this very simple adjustment, this really simple change in how we prompt the LLM is extremely powerful. Like I would encourage you guys to try it out right now as well. They just copy over your resume, copy over a job that you are hunting for, and just ask the LLM to be the recruiter. And you can break it down into like a series of questions. Step one, be the recruiter, make sure that it's the right kind of recruiter for that role. And then step two, like tell it to go line by line and rank each line or each bullet point. Once you do it in that way, like you'll notice that if for me at least, like it was so powerful. Like I noticed a very visible difference in the amount of jobs that I was being selected for, interviews that I was being called up for, and also like you can just feel a world of difference in terms of how optimized everything is. Um, if you apply this with a reasoning model, it gets even more valuable. But you don't even need a reasoning model like for these kind of use cases. The LLM is already powerful enough. It just needs to be asked the right kind of question. So, I mean, this is just one really basic, really simple example of prompt engineering or context engineering or whatever the latest term is. But I found it really powerful, and I wanted to share this with the group. I'll keep going again. These are some general like job search hacks or tips. A lot of you might already be doing most of this, but all of you should be doing it. Different ways that AI creates advantages for you in the job hunting process. So these are in combination with the right kind of prompts, but also like the things that you should be doing as part of the job prep process, right? Like this is really a breakdown of what we should be doing as part of the job prep process, and then applying AI to that process to enrich and better that process, right? So, for example, researching company challenges, right? Like if you're interviewing for like Google, for example, make sure that you leverage the best capabilities available out there from Gemini or ChatGPT or anything, and identify the top 10 challenges that that company is facing or that department within Google is facing today. Make a list and then use that downstream. Generate multiple personalized cover letters at scale. Compare job descriptions. Use the prompt I used earlier to fit your skills and experience, and switch adjust your resume for every single job that you're applying for. Optimizing LinkedIn profile. This is a really powerful one that I've used a few times. I keep changing my LinkedIn profile every couple of months, and there's tools out there that are commercial, like Career Flow, that actually will take your LinkedIn profile as an input, and then give a scoring for each section, identify what works best. They'll compare that with they won't just use an LLM, but they'll also compare that with their own research as well, like what works best for a LinkedIn profile based on your industry, your segment, your vertical, your location, and do that for each and every single section, and then give you a scoring, give you recommendations, break it down very easily into how you can adjust it to achieve your goals. It's really powerful. If you don't want to pay for Career Flow, you can still replicate most of this just by going into ChatGPT or any other LLM yourself. But it's proven to work. I do it myself. I have seen great results. I've seen a huge number of uptick in the number of viewers of my profile. I've seen a number of uptick in the amount of recruiters that DM me once the profile is optimized for a particular role. So definitely worthwhile checking that out. We'll get into this one in a second. I have another section for this. I'm gonna take a break here. Any other questions? I sense I'm talking a bit too much and not enough engagement. So any questions or anything that we can discuss?
I have one question. You mentioned about voice AI, right?
Right.
So do you also do anything like vision AI, anything like that?
I not more than like just experimenting. Like I haven't built anything in production with anything to do with AI vision or uh, analyzing images or anything of that. I did do an experiment with like a real time like video that would analyze your skin tones and skin patterns. Like that was done for like a potential project that I would have gotten involved in, but that didn't end up happening. So like we did this mini project in which it, there was a web app where you could go and it would access your camera, take an immediate picture, and then give based on that picture, like give you real time feedback on how what's your skin color and tone and complexion uh, tells you about how healthy you are and gives you some insight and feedback.
I see. Okay. All right. Would you be interested to discuss this further if you have had time, like, in coming weeks?
Yeah, for sure. Always happy to talk AI.
Sure. Thank you. I will.
Yeah, we can
Thank
connect afterwards. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. So the next section here is really my experience with voice and voice AI. As I already mentioned, I'm doing a lot of projects, so I'm not going to go into what I'm doing. But the the important thing that from a career development, early careers perspective, or like an interview prep perspective, that is really important is how useful it is, like in terms of being able to just think of the fact that you can have a conversation with anybody. Like if you wanted to today, you could go to an LLM and replicate a conversation with Elon Musk that you might want to have, and the AI can take over that persona and become Elon Musk, and you can have a conversation, and it would respond in the way that Elon Musk would likely respond to you. That's really powerful, and people often undermine that, particularly from like a career prep perspective as well. One of the ways that I have helped people utilize, and I encourage everybody else to also leverage as well, is interview prep. I recently had an interview with with an AI company, and they were going to bring in a panel, and they would ask me a lot of questions. And they had like four different experts. One of them was an AI engineer, and there was a few other people in different levels of the organization that were all going to grill me on this topic. And it was sort of a intimidating interview, but the way that I prepared for it is I found out who they were. I looked up all of their LinkedIn profiles, made a thread in ChatGPT about what the conversation was going to be about. I made sure that it had enough context about what the company is, what they do, what the expected conversation would be, and then all of their profiles. And then I asked it to be basically become the panelist for me, and then grill me just like they would grill me in the interview. And I had almost like a 45-minute conversation with ChatGPT, in which it asked me a bunch of questions in the way that the panel would ask me. And I gave it really long answers, sometimes going to like 12, 15 minutes of response. And then I asked it for feedback. And we did that exercise for 3 times. So like 15 into 3, like 45-minute session, fully conversational. And it was game changing. Like it was amazing, like how well it could prep me for that conversation. And not only the fact that it could prep me based on my responses, but also the tone of my responses, like the confidence I was expressing, the structure that I was using in my conversation, how prepared I felt, and what I could do to make myself go from like a 7 on 10 to a 10 on 10 response. Like all of that is doable. These are things that were not possible 3 years ago. And now everybody has access to it. Everybody can constantly utilize it. And we're in my opinion, we're not doing enough of that. So that's from a career like prep, interview prep, job evolution perspective, job training readiness perspective. Like that's a really powerful use case, and it gets me really excited about voice AI. Apart from that, like I have used this technology for, like, as I mentioned, the VC matchmaking stuff, supporting companies that are building like AI employees, AI receptionists, AI intake appointment setters, AI researchers, I've done all of those kind of use cases and happy to go into more detail for any of them. But yeah, the technology is here. It's very accessible. It's really amazing, and there are some ways that anybody can spin up a personalized voice agent that does more than talk. Like it can retain information and it can capture that and put it into a dashboard or a Google Sheet very, very fast. Um, that's actually what I wanted to share here with the group as well. There are some tools that I use on a regular basis that help me build AI agents and that work really well. A lot of them have free tiers, so anybody can immediately today, even if they're non-technical, they can go in and start building AI agents that work and can do things like interview prep or research or calling up a restaurant and placing your order. And it can be done today, like within 15 minutes. One tool that works that I use very often is called VAPI. I'll put that in the chat. It's entirely an AI infrastructure tool that's built around creating voice agents that work. You can do it really fast with a single prompt, and then not only that, but you can also actually apply integrations and connect things. They have a direct connection to Google Sheets and a few other basic things, but also you can build more powerful integrations very quickly as well, like by combining that with make.com or Zapier or a few other tools. These are really, really powerful, really simple to use tools. They're often no code, low code friendly as well. So anybody who's non-technical or really early on in their journey or just wants to not spend a lot of time like dealing with scripting or opening up VS Code and spending time there, you can leverage make.com, and it's a drag and drop builder in which you can connect your VAPI agent to a sheet, to Google Drive, to like Trello form, to Slack, pretty much with a click of like 2 buttons. So that's something I've been using all the time. Really powerful, really valuable, and if anybody wants to like experiment with it or do like some freelance projects with it as well, like it's been really useful. Like I've built entire products simply with these and have had people pay for them to be used, and they just work. So it's a great time to be early in the game with voice AI. Experiment, leverage these kind of tools, leverage the technology available, and they can do amazing things. Yeah, so this is my go-to stack for like building up a quick agent. So VAPI.ai, which I just shared in the chat, for the voice piece, like it provides real-time audio processing. It takes care of pretty much all of the heavy lifting to do with setting up and deploying a voice agent, making it live. It also provides a very easy integration into a copy and paste way to essentially plug in that agent into your own website or anything else as well, as a widget or as an iframe as well, I believe. It also connects very easily with make.com and Zapier and NNN, which are like amazing workflow automation tools. Most of them are really, really friendly and easy to use. They offer no code or low code tiers. And then with VAPI particularly, I see a question in the chat, and I believe so. Like I do remember using Bolt to build a quick mockup, and I told it to use VAPI and add a voice agent, and it was able to do that. There was a bit of like back and forth, and getting the API key and a couple of steps, but overall it was really easy and pretty much out of the box you could do it. Yeah. And then you can connect it to like a database like Airtable or Superbase if you are feeling like you need more functionality. Pretty much out of the box as well. So this has been my go-to stack. Really powerful, really easy to use, and there's lots and lots of friendly material and tutorials on YouTube about how to get voice agents built really fast and easy with this tool stack. Yeah, as a kind of a closing note, I've been talking for a while, but with all of my things that I'm sharing about voice and career development tools and building in public, really for me, like the core lesson here is that it's easy to build. Building is the best way to learn, and it's also the best way to build credibility. It's the best way to show that you can do something. If you build something and you join a community and you talk about it and you share it, you build immediate credibility, and that leads to a lot of amazing opportunities. That's something that I have done and replicated many times, and I would encourage everybody to try the same as well, whether you're starting a business or just learning it to develop that skill set, or whether you want to do it to get better with the development of these kind of tools. It works across the board. For me, it worked really well for building product management skills. It worked well to launch a product and productionize it, and it's been a great way to show myself as a person with real value and able to contribute to the AI space. Yeah, so my way of doing things has always been to build. I often then join a community, build a micro project, or join a hackathon, use that as a way to launch something and motivate myself, and then share it openly. We talked about LinkedIn, but also like there's many other platforms to do that as well, from Slack communities, Reddit communities, X, Quora, Product Hunt. There's a lot of places where if you're shy or not willing to put this on your LinkedIn yet, like you can build a product, you can share it in a very small community on Reddit, use that to get some signals, get some early feedback, then move on to a larger community, then move on to a larger one, then maybe join a hackathon and launch that, and then go from there one step at a time, till you're confident enough to be fully public with it. Yeah, so that's a summation of my journey, like how I've leveraged AI in a lot of different spaces, how I've used it to build skill set, build credibility, advance my career in multiple ways, and continue to do so every day, as well. So I'll stop here, and if there's any questions from anybody, happy to answer them, or give it back to you guys to take it away.
Yeah, hello. I have a question about the job market in Canada. Is still viable in this fall and winter, or there will not be opportunities till the economic issues is settled here in Canada, or is the economic problems Canada is facing is actually factoring into the difficulties in the job market?
That would be a really good question for Mark Carney, not for me. uh, yeah, I mean, I wish I had a better answer. Like the one thing is, even though the overall economy is not the best, I do see that in some sub segments, AI being one of them, there are opportunities available. People are experimenting. There are new companies emerging. There's investment happening, particularly in the VC space. I see that closely as well. Like there's people trying out new things, people getting funded, people expanding their teams. So all of that is happening. Like even though the overall economy is not in the best shape right now, and I guess the best we can do is keep working on ourselves. The economy will turn around, and the overall job market may be slow, but there's definitely pockets of opportunity even today as well.
Like,
Thank you.
because if you are, these are the new technologies, AI, and it's like, kind of companies are thinking and start like, in a startup phase or implementation phase. So there would be definitely like, a lot of jobs. But those jobs are like more like more towards these trends of AI, automation, and so on. So why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shapiro, as well. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, I have a question. Um, I've heard people using agents to, apply for jobs. Can you, or like if you have any documentation kind of thing, wherein an AI agent can help me in applying for kind of multiple jobs, not just one job. Maybe it can search. Oh, it can basically search, or maybe if I give it the URL or something, can it help me in applying for jobs, basically?
There's actually a really good point to bring up. There was this tool that I came across that I will share with you guys. I don't know if it's free or paid, but I've heard good things about it. I've never used it myself. Um,
Okay.
it's built by. Let me find the link for you. Just one second. It's actually like a tool that automatically applies like for you, like it personalizes your resume for each job, and then it just does the application. And it can do it at scale. So let me try and find the link.
AIApply, right?
No, it's something else. I have heard of that one as well. I haven't used either, but I did hear that it's good. So use at your own risk. But let me share.
Yes, yes.
Abbas, can you share the link for the one that you mentioned?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he's doing now.
I'll follow up with Saad and share the link, like to the one that I was referring to. I can't find it right now.
Areeb, I had a quick question. I'm like trying to debate, or I'm like having conversations with a lot of people who are trying to get into product management or have just broken in on the benefits of having an MBA. Some people say like, hey, like even when I've searched into roles, like a lot will say like MBA preferred. In your experience and in the circles that you've involved yourself into, do you feel like that's something that is still a viable option, like that people take, or is it not necessary anymore?
Um, I've often debated with myself as well, like whether that's the route to take. So far I cannot justify it. Like for the most part, the investment and time and opportunity cost. But like it depends on what MBA you're doing as well, right? Like if you're doing an MBA from Harvard or like one of the top business schools in the globe, for sure the opportunities that it opens up to pivot and change careers and the access that it gives you, I believe that's still super valuable and hard to compete with. But if it's just a general MBA from anywhere, then in my opinion, it's no longer as useful as it used to be, unless you specifically want it for a job that you've identified that requires an MBA. But that's becoming less and less of a thing. Like especially most product jobs, they won't even mention that at all. Like it used to be a thing before, but I've seen it disappearing. And particularly nowadays, like they value more, startup experience or experience with AI, like those kind of skills versus formal certification or MBA.
A quick follow-up on that. So in essence, like one of the takeaways here is that we kind of need to build a portfolio. That's, I think, become slowly a norm. Product management, in order to stand out, having a product portfolio. Do you feel like that's kind of like the new norm?
I believe so. I mean, that's something that I've seen. Like all the PMs that I take inspiration from, like they have a portfolio of products that they have contributed to or built themselves or or been a part of. And I feel like I'm sure like as a PM, you've heard of Lenny's podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen like the kind of people that he's featuring in his community, as well. Like they're more often than not like they have a portfolio. They may not be builders themselves fully, but like they have a portfolio of products that they've supported or different verticals and industries they've been in, and they talk about that prominently. And that convergence of experiences has, I feel like that's been a pillar for them to be able to grow into better PMs.
Okay. Is there any resources or platforms you'd recommend for like building a website to showcase your portfolio?
I think like tools like Bolt, like Lovable, like they're great.
Yeah.
Like I use Bolt. I use Cursor mostly. But Bolt is great, Lovable is great. There's a few others of this nature as well that have been
Okay,
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your help.
No worries. I think yeah, so I just shared the link. It's called applyall.com. That but it looks similar to AIApply as well. So I haven't used either of them. Maybe they're both good, maybe they're both scams. They do look appealing though. All right. If there's no